Hey everybody, welcome to the Renaissance Woodworker Shop Update for Friday, November 25th, 2016. For those of you in the US, happy Thanksgiving yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Hope you ate a lot of turkey, watched some football, and hopefully you got into the shop. Well, this week I've been working on some breadboard ends, and I pulled out a saw that a lot of you may not have seen here in my shop since I did a review of this stair saw probably 3, maybe even 4 years ago. The fact of the matter is this saw doesn't get used that much, but when it does get pulled out, it's for highly specialized things like cutting the shoulders to breadboard tenons or cutting long grooves buried inside the walls of a case like I did for the groove on the inside of this blanket chest. It's a very effective saw when you want to work up against a fence to get into the interiors of things. I like using it for breadboards because it's got a nice wide flat surface that can ride up against a fence, but more importantly, I can set the depth on the blade. In this case, it's a perfect 1/4 inch depth, and when it stops cutting, I know that I've got my tenon shoulder cut exactly where I want it to be. But that was the review of that saw. The tip I wanted to talk about today is anytime you're working up against a fence, whether that be with a plane blade, a chisel, or a saw in this particular instance, you want to set the saw up in such a way so that when the saw is pressed, you want to set the fence up in such a way so that when the saw is pressed up against it, if you screw up and you go off your line, the only thing that can happen is the saw will drift into the waste. All of this out here is waste. This area on the other side of the line, it's gotta be pristine, it's gotta be perfect. It's the most visible part of this breadboard. Well, the fence, I could screw up all I want and I can't go inside this line. The fence is keeping me this way. So I could set the fence up on the other side and saw on the other side of the fence, but then if I screw up, if I drift off my line, I'm running into the keep section, the part that I cannot afford to scar. So it seems like a subtle little thing, but it makes your fence sawing, fence chiseling, fence planing activities that much more idiot-proof. Because I know that no matter what I do, no matter how I screw up, I can only run into the areas that I plan to chisel away anyway. And there we go. Right down to depth. You can see how it's stopped cutting. I can push down on both handles here and get it firmly registered because there's always a possibility that you can tip it off the end or tip it as you start and you end up with a little bit deeper on the ends. It's just like working with a hand plane. You want even pressure on the toe, even pressure in the middle, and pressure on the tote as you come off so that you don't tip it and go past your depth. So if you do want to learn a little bit more about this stair saw, check out episode 155 of the Renaissance Woodworker and you'll see my review of the CME Toolworks stair saw. If you want to learn a little bit more about making breadboards, check out episode 186 where I put breadboards on the end of that picnic style dining table. That's all for me this week, folks. Hope you had a great week. Those of you in the US, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, ate lots of turkey, pumpkin pie, watched football, and hopefully just got in your shop and got some work done. We'll see you next week.